What's up, everybody? I'm Brandon with EndFaze Games, and for today's video, I wanted to go through my thoughts on my opinion of the current state of sorcery. So this is going to span a variety of topics, just some things that have kind of popped into my mind over the last week or so, and I just kind of wanted to address a few things. And like I said, these are all just my opinions, observations. I'm in most of the Discords, and I'm not super active in all of them, but kind of lurk around a little bit. I do interact in a few of them, and I just wanted to get my thoughts out into the universe. So first, I wanted to talk about the current market. Right now, alpha cards are still at all-time lows. You can get some great deals. I've said it in the past. I think that's the investment set. And I think that it needed a price correction. I don't know if everybody agrees with me on that. Probably not. I don't think it needed to price correct as low as it went, but I do think that it should go up over time. Like, Charizard didn't pop out as a super expensive card. I could go into other examples. That was just the first thing that popped into my mind. But I just don't think that everything just needs to moon overnight. Then the next one, the beta reprint. And distro with all of that, with distribution, some distributions requiring purchases of Arthurian Legends with the beta boxes and that sort of thing. I think the beta reprint could have been done a little bit better. I think it was needed, but I don't know if it was done at the right time, which I will kind of get into that kind of near the end of the video. I know that also I think Team Covenant is awesome. That's where I bought my very first box of Sorcery from, and I know there was some community discussions about Team Covenant getting more beta. They're a big part of why Sorcery is successful, and I have no problem with them getting beta. And they've adhered to MSRP all along, where many others have not. So I think more power to them. There were some other ones. I'm not going to name drop a bunch of the other online resellers, but like the bigger websites and stuff like that, they're known, and there were some sites that were selling them for way under. And the beta reprint was kind of to get new players, and I just don't know. Like I said, I'll get into that near the end. I just don't know if the beta reprint was done at the correct time. I always wanted an unlimited set. Beta is the set that needs to last for a while, and it's the main, the core part of the game at its launch, other than the Kickstarter alpha. And I just think it could have been done as like an unlimited game piece non-foil box for like $80 or something like that. So that's my thoughts on the Team Covenant thing. And yeah, right now tri-sites are getting bought up like crazy, I hear. I don't know if I'm missing something or if I'm a little bit out of the loop. I don't need any of the tri-sites. I have a few of each, because when Arthurian Legends came out, I bought my boxes, opened them up, and completed my play sets. And with the great thing with Sorcery, a unique, you only need one in each deck. And unless you just don't want to swap them out, you might get a couple of them here and there. So I know Lord of Itza put out a video that I watched this morning. He discussed, the prices rising on the tri-sites, which price is going up right now is a good thing. They are very hard to pull. I think the last couple Arthurian Legends boxes that I've opened, I did not pull one tri-site out of it. And I've opened quite a bit of Arthurian Legends. So yeah, price is going up. Tri-sites are, getting kind of scarce now. I don't know if there's some sort of, they go in every multicolored deck. They're easy to put in your back row. If you're running multicolored decks, you probably should have it in your deck along with the dual sites. Those are just 4 easy possibly, well, if you do 2 of each, that could count for 7 of your sites right there. Like if you're running 2 duels, that would be 6, and then a tri-site, like if you're running a tricolor deal, without effects, you just want your threshold, that kind of thing. TCGs as a whole right now are, going crazy. Pokemon, I'm seeing a lot of Journey Together that's, getting near MSRP. The FOMO kind of faded away, and the flippers are kind of, lowering the prices a little bit. But TCGs as a whole, things are going nuts right now, and there's a ton of competition. Pokemon's popular. It's more collectors. Magic is gearing up. I hear the new Tarkir set is very good. And we're gearing up for the big Final Fantasy craze of the summer. And then along with Pokemon Destined Rivals, you got your other indie games. And there's just a ton. Like if you just go on Kickstarter right now and type in TCG, there's a ton. And then not to mention you got League of Legends coming out later this year. You got Gundam. There's a ton of competition. And that'll lead me into my next section here in a little bit. Community sentiment right now. So in the Discords, the main Sorcery Discord, seems to be pretty calm, cool, and collected. And then when you kind of get into some of the other Discords, it gets a little weird. And that's where I kind of chirp in sometimes, and, voice my opinion with somebody says something that I don't agree with. I got no problem, saying, my opinion. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say it's more negativity, but there's a few that are more negative, and rightfully so. People want their cards to have value, and a lot of the cards, dropped in value. Arthurian Legends might have, pissed a few people off with how it has, with their opening experience, like with the EV on it, with it being built towards sealed and draft, with the Uleets thing. Print run is kind of a weird thing. I just think that it being a second set for an indie game that was, as popular as Sorcery was, they did their best with the print run of Arthurian Legends. And I don't think they should ever disclose what the print run is. And at the end, I don't really think it matters. Like it's such a small player base right now that I think the Sorcery community just loves opening Arthurian Legends, and they buy a lot. I mean, I've bought quite a bit of Arthurian Legends. I bought quite a bit of Sorcery as a whole. And with Arthurian Legends, with it being built towards draft and sealed, you need to print a little bit more because people are going to be using a box or 2 per event if those events are popping off. For me personally, here in Cincinnati, locals are kind of struggling a little bit. It's kind of rough. Like we got like a small group of players in Cincinnati. In the past, we had a few more, and they've kind of trickled out. I don't know. Sorcery can kind of be viewed as a supplemental game sometimes, with the release schedule and stuff like that. So getting new players, it's kind of tough. It's hard to lure them away from Magic and Pokemon or the hot new thing, One Piece, whatever it may be. And again, it just comes into competition. Like I always hear all the time that everybody's so upset with Magic or, Universes Beyond or SpongeBob or this or that, but everybody keeps playing Magic, or it's just such a big group of Magic players that they can just cycle them in. And TCG, like card games as a whole, a lot of the players are cyclical anyway, so they'll hop in and hop out, and that's just kind of the way it goes. So locals have kind of been struggling. We haven't had too many tourneys in the area since our last bigger one here, which was an awesome event. And there's always TTS, and there's tons of bigger events that are happening coming up as well. The Explorer series is doing phenomenal. The first two events had huge turnouts. May 3rd, I believe the whole weekend of May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Chicago, there's 3 days of sorcery events. I'll be at the May 3rd one for the constructed tourney there, so I'm looking forward to that. The Unwin tournament replaces Courtesan Cup, and it's good that Courtesan Cup got replaced with something. I hope that the Unwin Cup ends up being just as big as Courtesan Cup was expected to be. And then as far as like community wise and player wise, right now there's still a lot of discussions about Arch-Mago. And a lot of tournaments are banning him and banning the ring, or one or the other. Usually it's just Arch-Mago, because he's an avatar and he's going to be out from the beginning. The ring, you still got to draw the ring out of 50. There are some draw cards you can cut down on that a little bit, but with the deck size, drawing the ring, it's just good. The ring goes in every deck, so it kind of, I was more on the side of not banning Arch-Mago, which I'm still kind of on that side. In the last Collector Art House video with Mike, and he had Bruce on from Golden Eagle Cards, he gets into the statistics of it, and I think Magoo has like a 54-56% win rate, which to me, like, that's rough, but it's beatable. And in my opinion, a lot of people just kind of gravitated back towards Sorcerer, which I don't like Sorcerer as much. I don't really like playing him as much. I'm going to be playing him a little bit more if Magoo is viable or legal in a tournament that I'm in, and I'm just going to try and get a little bit better at playing Sorcerer. I've kind of shied away from him in the past because I thought he's kind of bland. All he does is draw cards, but drawing cards is good in card games. So yeah, that's kind of the community sentiment right now that I'm kind of seeing around. And the next topic is the marketing side of sorcery. In the last few weeks, there's been a lot more announcements. There hasn't been anything super substantial, but more announcements from the company is great in my opinion. I think that they could do maybe some bigger announcements once in a while, but maybe they're just holding them in for bigger times or getting close to whenever they want to make those announcements. It's just my opinion. I'm starting to, like, I really liked the idea of the store championship thing that they did with the new organized play crunch, but I'm starting to question whether it was enough. With the slower release schedule of sorcery, you still, these stores, that's still once per year for those events, and then you have the sorcery big ones like Gen Con, and then the Avatar of the Realm tournaments, and then you have your sorcery cons, which are still player driven, player funded, that kind of thing. I wonder if there's something that they could do maybe quarterly or something like that to just kind of keep people engaged in between sets. Like with other games that have more frequent releases, you have release events for new sets, that kind of thing. Maybe they could in the future do something quarterly, something like that. And then just a little bit more from the team. Like there's a lot of sorcery content creators can only do so much, and that's my focus of why I started the channel, to grow the game. But just a little bit more on that front from Eric's Curioso, I think would help the game. A little bit more, signage to send to the stores when they do these kits. Like I mentioned in my last video with the announcement of the store championships, the stores had to reach out to them. It would have been really cool to have Eric's Curioso reach out to the stores. I think there needs to be a little bit more of that, just to kind of take some of the pressure off of the sorcery community. Yeah, all that being said, if I were to put an overall grade on Sorcery, and I think I think I would kind of land at like a B minus right now. Like I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if the beta reprint was done at the right time. With it being done right now, it was done alongside the organized play announcement, and the organized play, as far as we've seen with putting in your order for that kit, the earliest that store event could happen is July, from what I've seen online and from what I've discussed with others. And if that's the case, so then you're in the second half of the year. What if all of these different stores are doing their store championships running up to the release of Gothic? If it releases on time like we want it to in October, then you got all of these stores doing their store championships. Some players like to travel. I like to travel, to events, when it's doable. And I just don't know if it was done at the right time. I think that if they did the organized play announcement and then did a big marketing crunch, maybe ads on TCG Player, ads on other websites, more official videos from Eric's Curioso that can get shared across YouTube and other platforms, then do the reprint. I think that's when it could have been done a little bit better. I don't know if we're getting new players right now. The Discord number on the official Discord seems to be the same with the Facebook groups, stuff like that. I know some players left, the collectors, investors, that kind of thing. But as far as I'm concerned, like I'm sort of like an OCD player / collector. Like I want to have play sets of the cards as quick as I can so I can play as many decks and as many play styles as possible. And then I like to have extras because I don't like swapping cards out. I don't really foil chase unless it's something that I specifically want. But once I play a deck and I really like it, then I start to foil out the cards that aren't super expensive. So I don't know if we're getting the new players. I hope we are. Like I said earlier, competition is tough right now in the TCG market. There's tons of new games coming out. It's hard to pull players away from what they've been playing forever. They just kind of, gravitate to what they know, and they're kind of, I don't know if they're scared to get into a new game. I juggle a few. It does get a little taxing on the pocketbook, but that being said, I just think we have to do something, and it just can't rely solely on the Sorcery community. It's a big part of indie games. I've been used to it for a while with MetaZoo, and it's just something that kind of takes a toll on the players in the community after a while. They want to have a little bit more from the company. I still got questions about Dragonlord. I don't know how it's going to be sold or distributed or how they're going to do it. I don't know if it's going to have a big effect on the meta. I don't think it's going to have an effect at all, to be honest. I think the cards are going to look phenomenal, but still don't really know. Will we get Gothic on time? Who knows? They sent out that cryptic kind of message picture on X last week sometime I think, with the art commission and that kind of thing. We assume that pertains to Gothic. I don't know. I really, really hope that they can get it out by November. If it trickles into next year because of the Avatar of the Realm tournament, I understand it. But the quicker we can get that announced, the better. But I do hope that it can get this year. I don't know if they can do it or not. Fingers are crossed for that. I think this year's big moment will be the turnout at Gen Con. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to do about Arch-Mago, because people want to go to these big tournaments and they want to win. And if that's the best deck, people are going to play it. And it's not an easy deck to play. It's a fun deck to play. I like playing it. I haven't got to play it too much. It's kind of like a gentleman's agreement, kind of. Like, you're like, hey, don't play Arch-Mago. But when you get into these big tournaments and you're spending money to go to them and there's big prizes on the line, like there doesn't need to be money on the line for these sorcery tournaments. They usually have awesome prizes with these the art deal. Like, that's the main thing with sorcery. And when somebody can win like the actual painting of a card, or like an uncut sheet or something crazy like that, people are going to want to win. And then the player count of how many people show up to play. Going back a little bit though with the marketing thing with the sorcery content creators as well, they need to get into more conventions and more shows. Go to these collecticons and stuff like that. You know, do whatever you need to do. But back to Gen Con, the player count is going to be big, and then what they decide to do about Arch-Mago will be huge. So yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, B- is what I give sorcery right now. Definite room to improve. I love sorcery. I love the game. I love the gameplay. I love the art. I'm here to stay. And I hope I can get some new players. If you're in the Cincinnati area, hit me up. I'm in all the Discords, and you can leave a message here with your Discord name, leave a comment. Interested to see what you guys have to say in the comments below. Leave a like on the video if you like what you saw, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.